Alright, I'm here at Mountain Tracks in Barkham. I'm getting some new forks fit to my bike. I've got the DT Swiss F535 going on the Levo, which is awesome. They look really slick. Loads of tech in them. They've got a coil, they've got air in them. I'm going to go and meet the guys and find out a little bit more about them, get them fit on my Levo. Quite a lot going on in here actually, it's quite busy. This is Chris.
Hiya.
Hello, how you doing mate?
Yeah,
thanks for inviting me in, very well. And we've got another Chris over there from DT Swiss.
Is what we're here to talk about.
Alright.
It's new F535, all ready to go, and we'll be getting this on Rob's Levo today. Yeah, launched at Eurobike, we're just beginning to see stock of these. They are an all-round trail fork, really nice robust bit of kit, and why you really should come down to see the guys at Mountain Tracks or one of our other fork stockists and give them a spin.
Nice.
Alright.
And you've got some bikes out there as well.
That's right. Yeah.
Some demo bikes, and I noticed that you've actually got these forks on one of the demo bikes.
Yeah, we've
got
a couple of bikes with their DT fork on. We run a fleet of like 60 demo bikes and with a real mix of stuff. But yeah, the DT fork is on a couple of bikes, going down really well.
Nice.
And Swinley's just round down the corner.
Yeah, and Swinley's only 9 minutes down the road as well. So,
9 minutes?
Yeah,
well,
timed it.
And we'll be finding exactly how far on that takes us later, hopefully.
So, I mean, these look pretty special. They just look really slick and neat just on like first appearance, looking at the top and looking at the kind of caps on here, and obviously you're going to tell us all about it. So what is special about these forks?
There's three key aspects to the design philosophy behind this fork. Firstly, you've got the spring system, you've got the damper, and you've also got the setup app, which is actually not part of the fork itself, but it's as important to the overall offering as anything else actually contained within the unit itself. The spring is a traditional dual chambered air spring, so it's auto balancing positive and negative spring. We call it the linear system. It's slightly more linear than a standard air spring. It means you get slightly less initial braking, and you've got a smoother transition towards the bottom out resistance. That's tunable versus using internal spaces as well, which is included with the fork. What's different compared to anything else in the market at the moment is what we call our coil pair system, which means down here you've got a little 8mm travel helper coil spring. That means that as the fork rolls through different compressions, it's got a little bit more sensitivity, it can react faster, it helps keep the front tyre pinned down, helps improve traction, it also improves comfort. E-bikes tend to be ridden for longer, people do more vertical on them, so it's not just all about mid-stroke support, there's also a comfort element there. You don't want your hands to be too tired, you want to reduce vibration passing through to your arms. So that little coil pair not just helps traction and technical handling, it also makes the fork much less fatiguing to ride long distances. Going to the other side, we've got the damper. What's unique about this is what we call our plush port system. What this is a position sensitive compression damper. Again, this is the first time this has been brought to market on a mountain bike front suspension fork. The difference is we can tune how the fork behaves at different parts through its travel. So the first sort of 20-30%, you've almost got no compression damping because the plush port is closed and it's directing all the damping fluid around the compression circuit, which means you get this lovely supple initial stroke. Again, less fatiguing, more grip, generally a more controlled front end, less being bounced around by little stuff. Great on washboard pebbles, off camber sections, etc, etc. And then as you move into the travel, you progressively move into a stiffer and more supportive mid-stroke, and then you've got a nice transition right at the end to a nice firm bottom out resistance for a really nice bottomless feel. So this allows us to circle the square, which has always been that you always had to compromise with your fork. You had to go for a nice supple trail fork, which then dived and when you went into the rough stuff, which is actually where a lot of e-bike forks are at the moment. People are starting to ride the bikes more aggressively. Suddenly things like mid-stroke support are becoming more and more important. So having be able to have that balance is is vital. Yeah, what we've done here is to actually try to eliminate the compromise that's dogged high-end suspension for quite a long time. And we've done it in a package that, whilst it's not e-bike specific, the 150mm or shorter travel versions are rated up to 150 kilos, which is 20 to 40 kilos more than the average suspension fork, and they're absolutely e-bike friendly, because one of the nice things about the position sensitive damping, it doesn't need to be retuned for different rider and system weights. So you can take one of these off a bike ridden by a normal analog bike ridden by a 60 kilo rider and put a gentleman of my stature on an e-bike on it, same fork, same damping, same setup. You just need to run our setup app, which we'll get into in a minute, and you've got a perfect setup for you right out of the box in 10 minutes flat. Ease of setup was absolutely vital to the overall offering. So everything is done via the T10, which is hidden in the axle. So you just take that out, screw that. So access to all the adjustments, whether it's rebound.
Where did that come from? I missed that. Just down in the axle. Just down there.
It just fits in there, so it won't rattle, and that just fits inside the axle there. And clicks forward, and you can change that normally, and then you give it a proper tug, there it comes. So that's your T10. So that's always going to be with you. So you take that, and to access the air spring, and there you go, there's your air valve. On top of the cap, there's laser etched APT setting. That's how many volume spacers are in the fork. So currently there are 2, which is what the fork comes with standard. And then you can also put an extra one in there, or you can take them out. It's just a little reminder, so you know how many spaces are in there without having to open up the fork. If you go onto DT's website, there will be an offline app as well. Currently it's as part of the website. So what we have here is a 150mm travel F535, and it's for an e-mountain bike. There are 2 different settings for mountain bike and e-bike.
84 kilograms.
84, so set kilos, and then we get a recommended pressure, which is 98.9 psi precisely. There's a lot of the telemetry data I was speaking about, the extra time taken to collect the data for this fork setup. A lot of that has gone into this setup app, and that is a huge part of the forks offering. So we are very confident that people that follow this will be getting a great setup out of the box. And you get off. Okay, so I think we're good.
Cheers, boys. Thanks very much. See you later. Bye. Okay, so forks are fitted by the kind people at Mountain Tracks. Come here, they've got a brilliant demo fleet, really close to Swinley as well, so come and see these guys. It's going to be good. I'm going to go down to Swinley now with Chris from DT Swiss and try the new forks out, see what they're like. They've all been set up, the app actually, or the website, it's so easy. You literally just put in all your details, it gives you recommended settings, you close all the forks up, pop the caps on, they look so neat. Going to go and test them now in Swinley Forest. It's kind of wet, overcast, bit cold, probably a bit slippy and grimy out there, so maybe you won't be able to push them so hard, but it'd be interesting to compare them to the stock Fox 34s. Obviously, I think they're in a different league. They retail at 900 and something pounds, so they're kind of, you know, not a budget fork by any means. It's going to be interesting comparing those the ones we've just had on. I like this integrated mudguard here. That's a pretty good idea. And look, this is just totally sealed, and it's just a really nice finish. Really nice finish. So just riding on the flat on the little fire road to the trail, it is super plush. Let's just try smashing over some of these little roots. Yeah, soaks up quite nicely. Just going to come down this track just over here. Head down there. Oh mate, it feels super plush. The initial stroke is fantastic. Just around that, you know, those kind of roots, it just takes away all that chatter through the bars. Just soaks it all up. So I've only done a mile or so, but I
feel how it's going to work on. Also, there's a few little G outs on the top there. You didn't feel it was diving into there at all.
No, not at all. That little pumpy section, you could just kind of flow it in and out. It wasn't compressing too much.
Just behave. Just quietly get on with it.
Yeah. Oh, nice! So much support! feel really, really supple. It's so stony over these roots, soaking it up like a good one. Yeah, that felt really good. What did I use? 2/3-ish of the travel. Mate, these are brilliant. Mid-stroke is insane. Really good. And it doesn't feel harsh. It's not harsh in the mid-stroke. Oh man, so much support. So plush. Yeah. They feel really good. The biggest difference I'm noticing is in the mid-stroke. The support is so good. This has been set up basically straight from the website, and right now I probably would not change anything, just for local trail riding. It's composed, it feels, I mean, like in all my videos I say that I'm not the most experienced tester. I'm not a journalist, I'm just someone that rides bikes a lot and enjoys the aspect of riding the bike, and this removes any need for faffing around. Now, you may prefer to have the option to dial things in. You can certainly do that on these, but just as they are, they feel really sweet. Be interesting to see what they're like for real big hits, but Chris from DT says that they'll very rarely use all of their travel, just because they're so progressive that, you know, you've got that last little bit just for absolute emergencies. You're not going to totally bottom out. This gives me so much confidence. I don't normally hit that hard and fast, and considering the conditions are pretty grimy and slippy, for me components should make you feel good, and this does that. Makes me feel good when I'm riding. So this combo with this DT fork, the wheels, DT Swiss HX 1501s, super tough. It's specific for e-bikes, and this max grip front tyre are just making this like a winter monster, or just, you know, superb amount of feedback and grip. Yeah. Oh man. Feels so good. So we've just done a couple of laps of some of the red and some of the blue trails at Swinley. I don't know, not a huge amount of miles, maybe 10 miles or so, just to test these out. And my first impression is that there is so much mid-stroke support, especially on the sweepy bends, landing a couple of the jumps. Just gave me so much confidence in some of the hard bends, some of the switchbacks, and I felt like I was going much faster than I normally do, even though it's quite wet, quite greasy. Out here quite muddy, it's been raining quite a bit recently. The initial support, or the initial stroke, feels super plush, feels really, really nice and comfortable, soaks up the little kind of rooty sections really, really well. But then when you start getting the pace on a little bit, hitting some of the bigger stuff, getting a bit faster and railing the bends, it just offers so much support and gave me a lot of confidence. So got a lot more riding to do on these. I'm going to have them on for quite some time, so I'll definitely be talking a bit about them a bit more, but for this initial blast felt really, really good. Really good. Alright, well, I'll catch up with you all soon. Subscribe if you like this content. I bring weekly mountain bike, electric mountain bike videos. I'll catch up with you all soon. Peace out. Bye.